Hello and welcome to Digital Coffee. This is going to be episode 1, the pilot episode. I'm your host, Adrian Kogirin, and this is a weekly podcast dedicated to bringing you your morning fix on technology. So bringing you all the roundup of the weekly news in the world of technology, and we'll just discussing it, talking about it, giving my opinion and thoughts on everything. From stories going all around the tech world, from the famous blogs, stories coming from my own blog at DigitalDojos.com, and what I think is curated to be the more important news going on in technology. So this is episode 1, so with that I should probably give a little bit of background about myself for new listeners and give a little bit of background on what I want the show to be. And, of course, it's going to be a weekly tech show on the news and all of that. I hope to bring on more, tech figures and so on and so forth, and friends and other colleagues onto the show to share their opinions and get, discussing on the topics and have a varying of opinions on it. But for this episode, it's just going to be me, and it may be like that from time to time. This is all about, again, just rounding up what I feel is really the most important things that are being talked about in the world of technology today and for the last Monday through Friday. I'll be recording these every Monday here in Japan, so I'm in Japan, so I'm a day ahead. So for the stateside listeners, you'll probably get it. You'll still get it around Monday, so it'll be a weekly roundup of everything that happened the previous week. Now, I myself have been on the internet for quite a long time. I've been producing content for the last 8 years or so, starting off on YouTube on my main channel, youtube.com/LakerCoolman. I started that at 11 years old, hence the name. But I've been making technology content for quite a while. I've done a couple of podcasts that got pretty far recently and respectively. I had a podcast most recently called the Dojo Cast, which was the same theme, but just was really, really out of schedule, unorganized, and it was just kind of uploaded whenever. And that got up to like episode 70 something until I cut it off and really decided to kind of come at this much more prepared and, on an organized schedule. So all that said, I've been, like I said, creating content for a while. I've been doing technology reviews, news, and tutorials. That's kind of my domain that I've been creating stuff in. And you can find my channel at youtube.com/DigitalDojos for all my technology content, as well as, of course, at DigitalDojos.com for all of my posts. And that varies. It's a technology network. So this podcast is actually what is going to be the cornerstone and the first of many podcasts I hope to bring onto my new podcast network that's going to be under the Digital Dojos branding. I chose Digital Coffee because it is a compromise of two things I love. That's technology. When I think of technology, I think digital and coffee and caffeine, one of my big addictions. And, waking up and bringing you guys what I like to think is, again, the pure cream of the crop news happening in technology for the week. So all that said, I want to go in and jump into the stories. This episode is going to be a little bit shorter. I just kind of wanted to give a feel and get back into podcasting. I am very used to doing videos where everything can be very edited and kind of fixed. And I know podcasts, of course, can be edited, but I like these to be a little bit more laid back. And I have links here. I have the stories. I'm going to be pulling them. I'm going to have show notes where you guys can grab everything on our website. So if there's anything I mentioned that you want to grab or read or whatever, then definitely check out the show notes. And I hope to bring on a lot of more things to the show and a lot of more people and changing of aspects based off of your guys' feedback. So it's going to be live on iTunes. You can check that out. You can subscribe via iTunes if that's your method of getting podcasts, or if you just prefer listening to it on a web player, you can check it out on the site or on our YouTube channel, whatever floats your boat essentially. So with that, let's dive right into the technology stories this week that really mattered. And first off, I want to talk about Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. This was just introduced, and it's going to be their new $10 all-you-can-read service that Amazon's going to be offering for Kindle users. Now, it provides customers with the ability to read as many titles as they desire, all for $10 a month. So it's a really, really big bargain. And this gives you access to over 600,000 titles of not just ebooks, but audiobooks as well, since Amazon is the owner of Audible.com, one of the leading audiobook networks out there. You can get audiobooks, thousands of audiobooks. You get, again, over hundreds of thousands of ebook titles for any device that supports the Amazon Kindle service. Now, keep in mind, yes, there's sole Kindle devices that you can read all this content on, but you can do this on iOS as well with the Kindle app, on the iPad with the Kindle app. So if you subscribe to this service, you can use it on anything that is branded Kindle, essentially. Right now, they're offering a 30-day free trial service for customers who just want to try it before subscribing. And again, at $120 a year, you can literally read you could read up to 600,000 books if you had the time, but you are getting a ton of content. You get the 3-month Audible subscription, I believe. 3-month membership. That's over 150,000 titles. It's just so much packed into one for a very, very affordable $30 a month. Really, really great if you're a huge Kindle reader, or you just want to try out audiobooks. I know Amazon supports a lot of audio. If they have the audio version available for the Kindle, then you get that as well with WhisperSync technology and all that good stuff built in, so you can kind of listen along or follow along while you listen, I should say. Really, really great for you readers out there, or if anybody's been trying to, this is Amazon's big push to try and get users to use their service. And Amazon's all about their ecosystem, much like Apple is. They try to keep you within their ecosystem. If you're shopping on Amazon, you're already using Amazon things like their web services, like the TV streaming service and all that, then why not get all your books and titles from them as well with their devices? They're really trying to be one of the big behemoths in that of an everything service. They sell you physical goods, they sell you digital goods, and this is just an all-new subscription service for you to try out. And if you're a big reader, then $10 a month, that's nothing compared to the price of buying actual books every month, and then you'll go well beyond that. So definitely worth checking out. You can sign up now over at their site. So if you just head over to Amazon.com, you can go ahead and look up their Kindle Unlimited service and subscribe. And again, $120 a year, you're getting a huge, huge, huge discount on books and everything you can read. All right, moving on into the automobile space. This is something that was just recently talked about and announced. Tesla Motors, one of my current favorite companies right now. And I guess to kind of to throw out there, I do own stock in some Tesla stock. So just putting that out there before anything, I get into the story, I should say. But Tesla Motors, Elon Musk and Tesla this week just announced their newest Tesla Model 3. Now, this is going to be upcoming. It's going to be released in 2016, but it's going to be put on sale in 2017, so still a couple of years from now. But Tesla's Model 3 is going to be directly competing with BMW's 3 Series electric car. Electric cars are becoming pretty big right now. Obviously, Tesla is very known for it with their Model S. The Model 3 is going to be all about more a compact car, a smaller car, and more of a cheaper car, because it's going to be coming in at $35,000. Currently, the Model S starts at $70,000, so they're literally cutting the price in half for the Model 3. This is going to be a car that's, again, obviously all electric. It's going to look to bring in a more affordable range to break that barrier down for people who want to go with an electric car. That the thing with a Tesla, it's an electric car, but it's very sporty. That's one of the things Tesla did. They met sporty and simplicity with something that is eco-friendly and all that. So you get a really nice, sleek-looking car with all this technology packed in, and again, it's all electric, so the acceleration is that much faster. There is no engine. There is no, the battery is literally the whole bottom of the car, and Tesla is doing some really great things to build battery centers where you can go around the world and literally drive in and swap your batteries. More charging stations are being implemented. There was a story just this week where a Chinese, I think it was a millionaire or billionaire, he bought a Tesla, a Model S, and there is no charging stations in China. So, of course, being as rich as he was, he literally went and built charging stations all around China for him to use the Tesla. So, I mean, it's a big thing. It's a big thing in the energy field right now. And obviously, as Tesla grows throughout, till 2017, they're going to have more charging stations. They're going to have better battery technology. And this Model 3 is really going to be a car that's going to be affordable and more compact, smaller, and again, at that $35,000 price range, a lot of more people can buy in. So, like I said, it's going to be competing directly with a lot of those cars that are out there, like the BMW's all-electric car. It's estimated right now at a 200-mile electric range as of right now with the base price. So that's in terms of distance we're talking. That's one of the big things with an electric car. Until it needs to be charged, you can only go so far until it needs to be charged. But like the Model S, it's probably going to have a lot of the energy regeneration, the brake regeneration technology built into it. So it's something promising to look at. And again, right now they're currently working on, I think, the Model X Tesla right now. I think Elon had a thing where he said that they already had the Model S, they already had the Model E, and they might as well make a Model X to add on to that. So, yeah, Tesla is definitely doing some crazy things right now, very innovative and game-changing things in the world of technology and automobiles for that matter. So definitely worth checking out if you're interested in a more affordable and compact Tesla. All right, let's move on to Microsoft. Their companies pretty much stole the spotlight this week for tech news because there's been a lot of it's one of those things that's hard to report on because at the same time it's a very saddening thing. But Microsoft just this week announced one of the biggest layoffs in their company history. They are going to be cutting over the next year 18,000 jobs. Again, that's the biggest cut ever, and a very big cut in general. That's 18,000 people ideally losing their jobs. However, in the memo that the newest CEO announced, Nadella, he went out to go and say that, a lot of these departments are going to be reorganized. They're going to be looking to try and put these guys and reposition them within the company and put them into other jobs. But ideally, you're obviously going to be losing a lot of employees regardless. And 12,500 of these 18,000 jobs are going to be taken directly from the Nokia devices and services. As you guys know, may or may not know, a couple of months back, or not too long ago, when Microsoft acquired Nokia, that means they acquired a ton of new employees, and they're going to be laying off a lot of those now. And all of this is an effort, as Microsoft quoted directly from the memo here. It says, the first step to building the right organization for our ambitions is to realign our workforce. With this in mind, we'll be beginning to reduce the size of our overall workforce by up to 18,000 jobs in the next year. So, there's a big new vision for Microsoft and the new CEO stepping in, going and focusing on their hardware, or I should say their software, a lot, and the whole mobile first, cloud first type of focus that they have going on right now. So following that $7 billion acquisition of Nokia and all those new employees, they obviously have to cut over some of the workforce. Overall, this is going to be 14% of Microsoft's workforce. But nonetheless, again, this is really, really big news, and obviously tragic news for those who are losing their job. But this is all in an effort to make a leaner, Microsoft and focus and refocus their image on the new Microsoft that they want to build. So, also I just want to go on to say they did say in the memo that they're going to be offering severance to all employees impacted by the changes, as well as job transitions, help in many locations, and treating them with as much respect and helping them transition into a new life or job as much as they can. So, pretty big news, and it's going to be, obviously, it's something they had to do, but regardless, it is a lot of jobs lost. But while I'm on the Microsoft boat, in kind of parallel with that, they announced also an end to Android Nokia X smartphones. So they're going to stop developing Android-powered smartphones beyond those currently available. So all the ones currently available are obviously out there for manufacturing, but beyond that, it's going to stop now because, due recently, again, with that 18,000 job cut, the firm acquiring Nokia earlier this year, they need to kind of cut down, and they're going to be focusing more on the cheaper Windows phones and stuff like that. They're going to be focusing on those hardware out in the mobile market. Obviously, Microsoft's biggest competitors being that of things like Samsung and Apple, of course. Those are kind of the two big gods pretty much in the mobile space right now with Android and iOS. But Windows Phone, they're going to try and focus on that, and they're going to stop producing, again, putting an end to all these upcoming Android phones beyond the ones that they're already offering. So, again, big news for Microsoft. A lot of stuff is going on around them. But on the opposite spectrum of that is Apple. And what has Apple been up to? Well, there's a lot of rumors leaking around this week, and a lot of them have been confirmed due to part leaks from Chinese factories, basically where everything kind of comes back to in the world of technology. If everything's being made in China, and especially with hardware and stuff of that nature, you tend to see it get leaked on the assembly line. People will take pictures, people will sell them, all that crazy stuff. And the biggest parts that have been released this week for the iPhone 6, most notably being the screen, the sapphire crystal screen that was released on what is said to be on the iPhone 6. So as of right now, what we know about the iPhone 6 is going to be featuring a bigger screen. We're going to be seeing a 4.7-inch model and possibly a 5.5-inch model. All the news say that the 5.5-inch is going to be delayed until later in the year, later into 2015. But as of right now, we do know Apple has finally made that decision to kind of go with the curve in technology right now and go for a bigger screen to offer bigger resolution. But on top of that, the glass that's used, the surface of the glass, is going to be sapphire crystal. Sapphire crystal being one of the most durable and resilient materials out there when it comes to glass and all that. And sapphire crystal is much more scratch resistant. It's much more flexible. Now you're going to see a whole bunch of hardware torture tests that are floating around the web. There's videos that are accumulating millions of views showing these torture tests. But keep in mind, most of them, they are just They are just showcasing that of the screen itself and not putting it on an actual device. They're not housing it on an actual iPhone, because obviously the screen is very flexible, the screen is very durable, but when you put that in comparison with the actual body of the iPhone 6 and so on and so forth, you're still going to get damages, you're still going to get cracks, but this is going to do a lot to considerably reduce that, because one of the biggest things right now you tend to see with iPhones and smartphone users in general is like every, like, I'd like to say 4 out of 10 people have some sort of cracked or damaged screen, especially in the younger generation. It's just one of those things that's obviously with the rise of smartphones and the touchscreens becoming the predominant part of your phone. That's just something it's bound to happen. You drop it, you put it in your pocket, something happens, and it gets cracked. Now, sapphire crystal is actually what they're already using right now on the camera lenses of the iPhone, as well as the Touch ID on the iPhone 5S, because it's much more resilient. That way your Touch ID, your fingerprint scanner, will always be working. And with the camera's end, sapphire crystal is much more clear and consistent. So you're going to get a much more visual, appealing experience when it comes to your overall screen. So there's a lot of things with the iPhone 6. It's going to be a bigger screen. It's going to have that sapphire crystal. The body part was leaked for it. It's going to be leaning more towards an iPod Touch 5th generation rounded design. So while it's becoming thinner and wider, it's also becoming a little bit more lightweight in the way they're rounding it. There's not much talk about the battery life. There is some people saying that it's going to be compromised. There's other leaks that say that Apple's found a new manufacturer to fix the battery problems. Again, nothing is set in stone until the actual product gets announced this fall. But as far as leaks go, sapphire crystal, bigger screens, that's the majority of what we know about the iPhone 6 right now. All right, the last story for this show, I want to go on to talk about Google in-app purchases and why this is a big deal. Right now, Google has agreed to add protections through its App Store, its Google Play Store, around games that are known as in-app purchases. In-app purchases are essentially when you buy a free app or a freemium model, kind of the same thing. Basically, you get an app, it's completely free, it's a video game, it's whatever, but maybe if you want to remove the ads or you want to get some power-ups or something significant in a game, you can get in-app purchases, meaning you can spend money within the game to get some sort of advantage. And that's, again, what's known as in-app purchases. Now, these are pretty big things in the news recently because on Apple and both Android, kids who get a hold of their devices or playing games accidentally purchase things, and it's been racking up on parents' bills. Now, in order to add a layer of protection to that, what Google is going to be doing now, it's going to be changing their games that offer in-app purchases to no longer mark them as free. I don't know what they're going to mark them as. I don't know if they're going to mark them as paid, because technically the games are still free to download and enter and try, but they include in-app purchases. Apple does a thing where they show it's free, but they offer like a little plus sign or something to show that you can get more if you pay for specific things. Now, this is a pretty big thing because a lot of apps nowadays are free but have some form of in-app purchase. So technically it would be taking a lot of those apps out of the free category. So there's a lot of commotion kind of going on around this and a lot of concern on what to do. But again, in the article from The Verge, there's a quote that says it's essential for app makers to understand and respect the EU law because this is going under the European Commission. So it's one of the requests. So this is a big thing that's going on right now, and the whole guidelines, they outline why this is a big thing because of the lawsuit that's going on with different companies like Apple, which earlier settled for, I think, like $32 million in refunds. They paid $32 million back to customers for quote-unquote unwanted charges for when kids are sitting there and tapping on the screen and buying random things and random games. So again, if they'll be doing this, then that means, again, they'll essentially stop calling games free when they offer in-app purchases, even though if you go into any app store right now and go into the top free games, I guarantee you that 10 of the top 20 have in-app purchases, or even more, because that's just a freemium model. And the reason the freemium model is so productive and so, what's the word I'm looking for? It's so profitable, really, is because if you make something free and then offer purchases to get more, anybody can enter. If you make a $2 application, and maybe it's a really great application, not everybody's going to buy it because not everybody wants to pay the $2 to test it, even though $2 is ridiculously cheap. But if it's free, if it costs, and it's nobody, nothing, and they can get it, and then they think, I want tokens to get that power up. I need to pass this level, so I'll pay to skip it. They have all sorts of crazy stuff in these apps, and people actually pay. Like, people, this is a viable thing. People make millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars through in-app purchases. It's literally what fuels. I mean, a game like Flappy Bird, for example, was a free game. I don't think it had in-app purchases, but what it did have was ads, and maybe you could pay to remove the ads. I don't remember, but this is the way that the market is turning. This is the way the mobile games are going. A lot of people are making really solid apps, making them free, and then having an extra layer on there to buy extra stuff that people want to get benefits in the game. So yeah, this is big mobile news, and definitely something to follow up if you are an Android user, because it's going to change the way you kind of interact with the Google Play Store. All right, all that said, that's kind of the tech stories I think that mattered to me this week. A lot of stuff that we covered, a lot of the stuff that's been just in general talked about from blog to blog. I hope you guys enjoyed this. This is just the pilot episode of what's to come. There's a lot, more I want to add on to the show as far as guests and all of that good stuff and segments. But as always, this is going to be your morning fix on technology. This is going to be me bringing you the stories that matter and kind of going into the who, what, when, where, why, and why all this stuff. And technology is constantly updating. That's the great thing about technology. I've been covering technology for the last 8 years, and sorry as I hit my desk there, but the thing about it is it's ever changing. There's always something new. There's always the bar being pushed, and it never settles. And that's one of the stressful things about covering technology, but it's also one of the exciting things at the same time. It's never ending. It's always trying to set the bar higher, and there's always something crazy cool and new out there. And for that, it's something to be explained. Our slogan over at DigitalDojos is technology content for the masses. I don't think that this should just be for the nerds and the geeks and the tech enthusiasts. It should be for everybody, because everybody should be informed about what's going on in the world and the things that we use day to day, like our mobile phones and so on and so forth. So I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoy the show, and I will catch you all in the next episode.